Do you know what it's like to lose everything? To have the ground beneath your feet crumble and leave you standing in an unrecognizable landscape? Well, if you're honest, you probably do. Sometimes we might have lost a job, maybe even a friend. But the reality is sometimes our losses can feel so big, they can bury us alive. That's exactly what happened to the nation of Israel. So let me ask you this. How do you rise out of a catastrophe when the weight of the world threatens to crush you? What hope is there when all seems lost? Today we'll meet a woman whose faith stood firm amidst a mountain of despair, and whose courage ignited a fire in a dying nation. This is the incredible story of the woman who led an entire nation out of defeat and into victory, a victory that had been prophesied for 300 years. Our story begins in a place called Canaan. Now, Canaan wasn't exactly a paradise. In fact, it was ruled by a nasty piece of work named Jabin, who kept the Israelites down with an iron fist and made their lives a living hell. Jabin's top guy was a military commander called Sisera, who liked to flex his power with 900 shiny iron chariots. These weren't your average chariots either. No, sir. They were war machines, each pulled by a team of 6 strong horses, ready to roll over anyone who dared defy King Jabin. This went on for 20 long years. The Israelites couldn't take it anymore. They cried out to God for help, but seemed to be forgotten. All hope seemed to have vanished. The villages were practically ghost towns. Trade routes were deserted. Families hid in caves or whatever they could find, hoping to avoid getting stomped on by Sisera and his soldiers. You could hear a pin drop in those days. The once lively streets of Israel were silent. In the midst of this chaos, there was a glimmer of light. Her name was Deborah, a prophetess who also served as one of Israel's judges. In simpler terms, she was kind of like a wise leader, someone people could turn to for help and guidance. And where did she hold her court? Under the comforting shade of a palm tree known as the Palm of Deborah. People came from far and wide to seek her wisdom and get help with their problems. But Deborah wasn't just a regular judge. Oh no, she was a prophetess, meaning she could speak on behalf of God. He gave her the power to see into the future and deliver messages to the people. Now, you might be wondering, why was she chosen? How did she become the leader that everyone looked up to? The answer is simple, yet profound. It wasn't because of her status, wealth, or any fancy weapons she possessed. It was because of her unshakable faith in God. See, Deborah was a woman who was deeply devoted to God. She knew His word like the back of her hand, and trusted in His promises more than anything else. People sensed her honesty and commitment to God, which made them respect and trust her. She didn't have an army or wear flashy clothes. She got her strength from the Almighty Himself. When the time was tough, she never backed down. Whenever someone needed help, she was there to lend a hand. One day, God spoke to Deborah. His words were clear and echoed with authority. "It's time, Deborah, for you to step up. You will save my people, the Israelites, from the brutal rule of Sisera and his master, King Jabin." When God calls, it doesn't matter if you think you're too scared or not good enough. You just gotta answer the call. It's like when your teacher asks you to do a solo in front of the whole school. Your palms sweat, knees shake, but you take a deep breath, close your eyes, and just go for it. That's what Deborah did. She went straight to a man named Barak. He was from the tribe of Naphtali, and Deborah told him, "Listen up, Barak, son of Abinoam. God wants you to gather 10,000 men from the tribes of Israel. Meet them at the base of Mount Tabor." But guess what Barak did? He said, "I'm not going anywhere without you, Deborah. But here's the kicker. Barak wasn't afraid because he didn't trust himself. No, he was afraid because he didn't trust God. But Deborah saw right through it. She understood that Barak's fear was really a lack of faith. So she gave him an answer that would make him think twice. "Okay, Barak, you want me to go with you? Fine. But let me tell you something. The victory we're about to win will be marked by a woman, not by you. and that was all the confidence she needed. With that, Deborah and Barak set out on their journey to meet up with the troops. Barak wanted Deborah to go ahead and meet the men at Mount Tabor, while he stayed behind to get things in order. And there she was, welcomed as a hero. But as they prepared for battle, something amazing happened. Deborah raised her hand and declared, "Today, the Lord has given Sisera and his army into your hands. You Israelites are about to wipe them off the face of the earth." Then something strange occurred. The men looked around, confused and a little scared. They had put all their trust in Deborah, not realizing that the real power lay in God. As if God himself was watching over them, the sky darkened and the wind picked up. A heavy rain poured down, causing the Kishon River to overflow. The next morning, the Israelites looked out to their surprise. The river had turned into a raging torrent, and there were Sisera and his chariots stuck up to their axles in mud. It was as if God himself had come down and turned their weapons against them. As Deborah raised her hands in praise, the Israelites rushed forward. They attacked with all their might, breaking through the enemy's ranks and sending the Canaanites running for cover. Chariots that once struck fear into their hearts now sat abandoned, useless heaps of metal in the muddy water. Sisera, desperate to escape, jumped out of his chariot and ran away on foot. Eventually, Sisera found himself stumbling into the tent of a woman named Jael. Thinking quickly, he called out to her, "Please don't be afraid. I am a weary traveler in need of rest and water. Help me quench my thirst." Jael welcomed him warmly, offering him milk and a blanket to rest. But while Sisera drank and relaxed, unaware of the danger that lurked nearby. Meanwhile, Barak and his men continued their pursuit of Sisera, eager to claim the victory that God had promised. But when they reached Jael's tent, they found something that no one had expected. There was Sisera lying on the ground, fast asleep, with a tent peg protruding from his temple. It turned out that Jael, acting with quiet courage, had driven the peg through Sisera's head while he was sleeping, ending his life and ending his tyranny over Israel. When Barak saw this, he couldn't help but smile. He remembered Deborah's words, "The victory will be marked by a woman," and realized that she had been right. Once again, God had shown his power, not through the mightiest warrior, but through the simplest of means. From that day on, Israel basked in the sweet taste of freedom, enjoying 40 years of hard-earned peace. Deborah and Barak's victory resonated throughout the ages, reminding people that no matter how daunting the odds, faith in God could pave the way to triumph. Their story became a song, a hymn of joy and courage that echoed through the valleys of history. Deborah's story teaches us that true strength comes not from physical power or social status, but from unwavering faith in God. She showed us that God can use anyone to fulfill his purpose, regardless of their background or perceived weaknesses. So if you ever feel like you're not enough, remember the story of Deborah. You are enough in God's eyes. And if God calls you to do something, he will equip you to do it. You just have to trust in him and have faith in his plan. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more stories. Also, feel free to share your thoughts, comments, or suggestions below. Your engagement helps us create more great videos for you. Stay tuned for the next one.